Hello, this is Katheryn Ridall. Welcome to Dreaming in a Time of Pandemic. This is video 5. Today I will be talking about the collaboration between our waking and dreaming selves that occurs when we engage with dream work. The ideas in this video can be applied to dreams which you have had at any point during your life or that you'll have in the future. The dreams which I'm going to use to illustrate the ideas are from the pandemic dreams that we explored in earlier videos in this series. Throughout history, people have followed their dreams, and in some cultures, for instance in ancient Greece, dreams have been viewed as oracular. That is, gods or celestial forces come to us in our dreams and give us information that we need to follow. So there's a relationship to dreams as a kind of oracle which we must obey. That really isn't the position of modern dream work. So although our dreams can be so powerful, they're always mysterious, they're magical, even though they have otherworldly qualities to them, in modern dream work, we understand that we have to interpret the images that come to us, so we have to sit with them and try to understand them. And so that involves the use of our conscious mind, our waking mind. We also understand that it's up to us to decide whether we're going to act on the message of the dream once we've received it. So there's an engagement between the conscious and unconscious self, the waking and the dreaming self, that's very much a part of modern dream work. I'm going to go through the different phases of dreaming and working with dreams and talk about the dialogue, the collaboration between the conscious and the unconscious, the waking and dreaming selves at each step. So of course the first thing in dream work is the dream itself. We're given this mysterious gift while we're sleeping. There are many ways of understanding that gift, like what it is. The approach in this series is that that dream, that gift, comes to us to balance out, to compensate for limitations in our waking self, our waking self's understanding of the world, certain patterns we may be living out, so that our dreams come to give us a view which can expand our lives, that can help us to engage more fully in life. Understood this way, the gift of the unconscious, the gift of our dreaming self, is already in dialogue with the conscious self. We are given a dream that helps us to expand our waking positions. The collaboration has already begun when we have a dream. The next step, as we've talked about, once you've had a dream, is to honor it by writing it down. That, of course, involves the conscious self, the waking self. We try to remember as much as we can about our dream, about that gift from the unconscious, and we record it. That is the work of the conscious self. So step 1 is really the conscious self receiving and recording the gift from the unconscious. The next step in dream work, as we've talked about, is the step of associating to the setting of the dream, the images of the dream, the arc of action of the dream, the feelings of the dream, allowing unexpected associations to arise. The stage of working with dreams, which involves association, is very much a hybrid between our waking and our dreaming selves, our conscious and our unconscious self. We pose the question, we open and create a container consciously, like what are these images in the dream about? That's the conscious mind. But we allow to emerge in working with the dream associations that may surprise us. So for instance, in Three Rabbits, which we explored earlier, Tara had a dream of 3 rabbits in a hutch. She actually has 1 rabbit, but in the dream there were suddenly 3. When she was asked about the feelings in the dream, she reported neutrality. She, the dreamer, felt neutral about seeing those rabbits in the cage, and she felt that the rabbits themselves were neutral. There was a very strong neutrality that permeated her understanding of the dream. However, when she began to associate more deeply, and in that situation we use Gestalt work where she actually spoke as the rabbit, I am the rabbit. When she began to do that kind of work and deepened into the imagery of the dream, she found out that that rabbit, who had seemed like he was neutral, was actually feeling sad, isolated, alone, crowded in his cage. Those kinds of strong feelings that came up when she worked with that image related very much to feelings which she had under the surface in her life being isolated at home during the pandemic. So we can see that making the decision to do the Gestalt work on that image and consciously engaging with that opened up the portal for unexpected imagery to come up. So there was in the associative process itself, there was a dialogue that occurred between her waking self and her dreaming self, her conscious self and her unconscious self. The same thing happened in the dream which we reported about the gift of cigarettes. In that dream, the dreamer was given a gift of cigarettes by his dying sister. In the dream, this was very perplexing to him. He didn't know what he was supposed to do with the cigarettes. Like, why am I being given these? When he did the deeper associative work with it, he realized that in the dream he was feeling very uneasy about this gift, but he didn't speak up about it. When he associated to that, he realized that in life he sometimes goes along with his family, doesn't express his own feelings and needs. So that this dream said something about his feelings currently about his sister. He also looked at, she was giving him a gift that was problematic for him. He took that image and associated to his current life, and he realized that his sister was coming to visit him. As our society is opening up, he and his sister had worked out a plan for her to come visit him with her family. He realized as he let his feelings come up that he really wasn't ready for that he's been taking care of his kids and the cooking. He didn't have the capacity to really act as the host and the nurturer for his sister and her family. Even though he loves them and he wanted to see them, they hadn't reached the right solution. So the associative process allowed unconscious feelings to come up. Once we've done the associative work, then there is a decision about how are we going to act on our dreams. Are we going to act on our dreams? We aren't kind of an ancient people who act in accordance with our dreams. We don't follow our dreams no matter what. We assess them. We assess like, okay, we understand now what the dream is about, but are we going to act on the message of the dream or not? This is a very important part of dream work, and as part of the collaboration, we use our conscious mind to evaluate what's come up in the associative process and evaluate how we're going to respond to that. Now, in the dream Three Rabbits, Tara was very uncomfortable when she recognized how her rabbit was feeling and how that really related to her own feelings during the pandemic. I asked her to allow to emerge an image that would be healing to those feelings of isolation and sadness and being cooped up. what's an image? And that again is using the unconscious. The question was a conscious question, but the unconscious was asked to associate freely. When Tara did this, she had the image of stretching. She saw her body lying on her side and just stretching her muscles. So there was a kind of release from the confinement that rabbit was feeling. When she had that experience, she realized that she needed that very much in her life. She needed that feeling of extension and expansion. This led her to take out the bicycle which she had bought a couple of months before and to begin to take long bicycle rides where she enjoyed the wind in her hair, where she enjoyed the feeling of moving fast, feeling kind of wild, feeling like her college self again. So there was a decision to act on the message of the dream, and that decision brought her relief in her life. In a similar way, in the dream of gift of cigarettes, the dreamer, once he realized that he had been given a gift by his sister that he was uncomfortable with, he decided to talk to her. He called her, and he and his sister worked out a different plan to meet. In this time of a pandemic, we need to make decisions. How are we going to interface with those people we love? His dream let him know that he had made decisions that didn't work for him. By associating to it, seeing his discomfort, understanding it more deeply, he was able to then contact his sister and figure out a new way of getting together that worked better for him. So this is the way that a collaboration happens between our dreaming self and our waking self. Without our waking self, there is no dream. Without our associative self that pulls up the unconscious, there is no dream work that's possible. So there's always a dialogue back and forth. I do want to say that in my own life, I definitely make a decision in dreams. After, when I work my dreams, I make a decision about whether or not I'm going to act on them or not. And most of the time I do. Not always, but most of the time I do. I find that if I have a strong dream and I ignore it, it tends to come again. I've had a couple of serious dreams, like dreams that are recurring dreams that have come again and again and again until I've taken the message that the unconscious was trying to give to me. So even though I certainly believe that it's very important to assess every dream and to decide what we're going to do in relationship to it, I also think that as you become an experienced dream worker, that you tend to trust the messages of the dream and to go along with it, even if sometimes you have doubts about it. So again, there's conscious choice, but a trust grows up over time as you work with your dreams. You trust that dialogue between the conscious and the unconscious, between the waking self and the dreaming self. Enjoy your dreams. Notice the dialogue between your waking and dreaming self as you make your way through this time of pandemic. Be well.